lanes, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Man, welcome in. We're back with Ready to Love, Make a Move. This is season 1, premiere season, and it's episode 7 called Mixing It Up. Mixing it up, guys. So how's everybody doing? JR, Sean, how you guys doing over there?
Oh, good, thank you.
Doing great.
What's the weather?
Doing great.
Oh, great. What's the weather like where you are, JR?
It's freezing cold this week. Zero, 0 degrees, like absolute freezing. So not nice.
Yeah, we got the same issue. I was telling them earlier today in our Married at First Sight with Sean here. I was telling them that we are actually seeing, for the first time this season, we're actually seeing snow today. So
wow.
You can imagine it's cold, it's below freezing. And Sean, tell our new audience what the weather's like there in Texas, in this U.S.
It's in the now it's in the 40s here, but it was in the 50s today.
Oh wow! And dropped down to the 40s.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's not too cold. It's not cold.
Okay, you keep on saying that. You wake up with that frost on your car tomorrow. You won't be saying it then. Yeah, it's as I guess everywhere that we are, at least in the three of us in the world, right. It is getting cold, and I guess it's what's called fall, headed into winter, right? So, hey there, yes, good evening, yeah, Sean. All right, we got Sean in the chat too tonight. First time we got JRXTV in the chat. Great to see everybody else in the chat. You guys are in the chat. I see you in the numbers. Just go ahead and drop a hello. Don't be all in them bushes. I know you out there, Alex. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. I know you out there. Well, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about later how I know you're out there. Like, you don't realize when you originate a stream, certain things that you can see that other people can't. But that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Okay. So anyway, moving right along. What did you guys think of this episode this week with Ready to Love, Make a Move? What were your thoughts, JR?
A lot of stuff went down this week. Had some connections get dropped, some double dates with some new potential candidates. Had a little bit of a dilemma between the ladies, which I'm not sure is completely over yet. And yeah, then we had more of the same indecisiveness.
Right.
And what I would say, we also have some of the most confusing behaviors, similar to what I said last week.
Right. Well, do you think that the women are actually? I don't know if it's me, and you could tell me what you think. Do you feel like maybe some of the women are beginning to feel a little bit of burnout with having to make all of these decisions? You know, what is that saying? Heavy is the head that wears the crown, or something like that.
Well, they definitely feel like they got crowns on, and when it comes to decision making, you know, they're spot for choice. Really, there's a lot of guys, and there's only 4 of them, so you know, they're being assessed on whether they're choosing the right person at that stage in their life. So they knew what they were signing up for. So I can't say I have any sympathy. I'm just going to watch it play out.
And thank you for that. And what about you? What are your thoughts, Sean?
There's a whole lot of debacle and craziness and inconsistencies that I caught, and with we'll talk about those in a few seconds, I guess.
Right.
It's craziness.
Yeah, some craziness. Some people being brought back into the equation that had been dropped out. And it looks like, not to jump too far ahead, but I'm going to go ahead and say it looks like for our next week, it looks like we're going to have a few people returning again on next week's episode. So that's very interesting. I don't know if 24 men or 24, 25 men, that's actually, when you stop and think about it, with a lot of people not fulfilling a lot of these ladies' high expectations, that's a lot of people that are knocked out right away. Like, so you say, if you're just walking to a room and there are 20 men, a lot of these men, they're too short. The ladies say, well, everybody wants somebody over 6 feet, which I can never understand for somebody short like Zadia. And I don't know if Renisha's the other next shortest person on the cast. I could never understand as a taller woman why the shorter women always said they want somebody over 6 feet when they could be just as happy with a guy that's 5'7". I don't understand. Do you guys understand that?
Man, I think that's got to do with the size.
They want to feel
the
safe.
Height. Yes, like safety, protection. They feel like the taller guy is going to protect them more.
Oh,
and
okay.
Also, on the other side, if they're able to boss him about and control him, then they're controlling someone much larger than they are. So
now that's interesting, JR, that you can control somebody much larger. That's interesting. I never thought of that. Sean, what about you? What do you think? Why do little women even want a tall guy? Like, I'm like, just match it with somebody your own height. You're in the short category. Stay over there with the shorter men. I know.
I think, like JR said, I think it's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. I mean, just like, it's more common to see a shorter woman with a much taller man than it is a shorter man with a much taller woman. I've seen only a few of those couples in that latter dynamic. Like I said before, I had a friend of mine that he's like 5'8". His girlfriend was like 6'3".
Wow. Ooh, that is a height discrepancy. Yeah.
She liked it. Hey.
You say she liked it. You love it for her, huh?
She like it. I love it. Uh-huh.
Right. I mean, I think because I've had, when I was out there in the singles nightclub scene, I would have it was one particular evening I thought like it must have been something in the air, it must have been a full moon. Every guy that was below, let's say 5'4", was, and I'm in my heels at that, every guy was coming up approaching me trying to hit on me, and I'm like, what's up with that? And my mother used to say he was so short I could eat a bowl of soup off the top of his head. That was how short these guys were. I'm like, what in the world? But I don't have a problem if I like a guy. It doesn't really matter to me if he's a little bit shorter than me. I don't want him to be under 5 feet. Now I don't want a midget. But if he's 5'5", 5'6", it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I prefer, like most women say, I prefer a man that's 6 foot or taller. I like that. I do. I like that. I mean, my one time boyfriend was like 7'1". So you can just imagine I got a crick in my neck every time we kiss. But that's it's neither here nor there for me. But I'm just always wondering why the little short girls want the tallest guy. I could never figure that part out.
Quick question about that. So when you're dating a taller guy, do you feel like when there's arguments or things aren't going quite so well, does the height intimidate you on the flip side?
No, never. Okay. I mean, like, I guess for me, personally, JR, to what you're saying, I'm never going to be with someone that I feel intimidated by physically, because if I feel physically intimidated, that means I'm afraid of him, right? So for me to be afraid of a guy, that's my number one question I asked all women, and I always ask myself, do I feel safe with this man? So if I didn't feel safe with him, I would never be with him. It doesn't matter. And that could be a dangerous guy at 5'4" as versus, the 7'1" guy. He was not in any ways what's the word I want to say? You know, I never felt unsafe with him ever.
Right.
Now,
there is the gentle giant type out there, right?
He was, but he could get. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
I think with height can also come a physically imposing presence. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, I mean, and this guy was, physically fit, played in the NBA, strong guy, worked out every day. But at that time, of course, I worked out too. I just never, like you said, I think he would have fit more into the gentle giant. But having been close to him, I will say that I've seen, like, I don't want to say like a negative side or a physical side or a bad side, but he wasn't someone that I would walk over either. You get what I'm saying? So I had a healthy amount of respect for him, as well as he had a healthy amount of respect for me. And that's generally where I like to be in a relationship. I don't want to ever be where I disrespect you or you disrespect me. Because if I'm gonna, like, the whole thing about emasculating a man, if I've got to talk to a man in a certain kind of way, then I know I don't need to be with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and vice versa. You know?
But it just made for a crick in my neck when we wanted to kiss, though. If we're standing up, because like the 7'1", that's a lot of space in between the two of us. I'm tall, but I'm not that tall.
So why didn't he lift you up, make you his height?
He did. There was times when
it sounds like I know this guy.
You probably do. You probably do. He has a few rings from the old days. So played here in the Detroit area. So yeah, you probably do. Most people do. If you watch NBA, you know who he is.
Okay, I know. I know.
I'll probably be able to.
You said 7'1", there's only one 7'1" I know. I ain't talking.
Okay, zip the lips.
7'1" and played for the Pistons.
Okay, zip the lips, JR. I know you watch
and has
NBA.
Rings. Has championship rings. Okay.
Oh yeah,
narrows it down.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we move forward. So let's see, where are we at here? You guys got me talking too much. Okay, so we pick up on this episode this week where we left off last week with Zadia waiting for her birthday gift for Cameron to show up. Cam finally arrives. He's fashionably late. Zadia realizes that she likes Cam more than she has admitted. What do you guys make of this? What do you make of this, JR? You're nodding your head and smiling. So what do you make of?
I think we called it last week. Like Cam, we knew he was kind of like, he's been showing up as too good of a guy to just skip out on her birthday like that. He was busy with work or whatever else, and at least he showed up with a gift as well. She was very, I think she said she realized that because she was so pissed that he hadn't shown up, that actually made her realize how much she liked him. And I think her like for him is genuine. I think the issue they're going to eventually keep butting heads on is the lifestyle compatibility. Because with all the stuff he's got going on, there's that time that's going to be needed to spend with each other to build what they're trying to build. And he did say that he is prepared to give the time, he's prepared to sacrifice the time to try and make something work with her. So I think she was cheesing all around. Like she heard exactly what she wanted to hear.
Yeah, she did look very happy. I mean, like it seems very genuine. I don't doubt that that there's real chemistry and real emotion and real connection between these two. But Sean, what are your thoughts?
I agree with JR from last week. I think it was production driven that he was detained. But she was relieved to see him. Because she was not going to dump him. That was the strongest connection, and she is not taking the time to connect with anyone. So therefore, it would have just completely ended her storyline on the show if she had dumped him. So they weren't going to have that. It was not going to be.
And we've seen that with some of the other ladies, they dump someone and then they have to rebuild from scratch, and they may not meet someone who's been giving them the same type of energy or better.
Exactly.
So if you got to be careful how you let these guys go, because if you do it too harshly and they bring them back later down, then you might have to eat some crow.
You're gonna have to eat some crow. You're right. And JR, to that point, let me ask you this: what do you think? What do you think the chances are? You can chime in on this too, Sean. What do you think the chances are of just everyday woman, even a beautiful woman like say Zadia, meeting a pharmacist every day? Like, what are really your chances in the world? You meet a guy that's a licensed pharmacist.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I can see where that question comes from, because he's in the fitness industry as an entrepreneur and he has a completely different work situation. So he would probably be too busy doing what he's doing and she's doing what she's doing. They'll very rarely have an opportunity to be in the same place at the same time. So I think she needs to, and she is obviously appreciative of the fact that there is a connection, even though they're different in terms of what they do. And I think you're right. I'm not sure these two cross paths in the real world about this show.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm wondering even back in DC where there's a high concentration of educated Black people and people of color. I'm wondering, when's the last time she met a pharmacist back in DC? I mean, it's just not, to be fair. I'm just saying that I'm pointing these things out because I think what each one of these women is beginning to recognize as the show is going on and into its fourth, fifth week, I think what they're maybe beginning to balance with the fact that they felt like they had all this power to pick and choose and to throw the guys away when they wanted to throw them away. As JR's point is that how you end something with a person, you have to be very careful because you just might need, as my mother used to say, you just might need that person along the way. So be careful how you treat somebody. She wasn't talking about ending things, but she would say, be careful how you treat people because you never know who you're going to need along the journey of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and with the track record that this show has and the track record that we've seen from how these shows eventually finish, it makes it even more important to be certain in the process of, if you don't like someone, clearly you must cut them off. Don't just leave them hanging for the sake of it in the hopes of finding better and you're just keeping them there. No, like you have to be pretty decisive in the show. And I'm not sure that we've seen enough of a strong connection from all the ladies to determine how it's going to end yet. Including Cam and Zadia. They're getting on well for now, but looking at what happens next week, it looks like they're going to have some conversations again.
Right, but I'm wondering if next week though, I'm wondering if it's more related to her attitude. And again, I go back to these women, to me, have made a very fatal, almost nearly fatal mistake from the jump when they got all excited about the fact that they have this so-called quote unquote, power. So power tends to corrupt people and makes them think that they have more than what they actually have. Because I've said all along the way, if you guys recall, I've said that I don't know why the women think they have the power, because at any point in time, any man can say, no, you decide you want to keep this person for your keeper. What if he says, well, you know what? I decided I'm not really that into you.
Yeah, but still, the power still comes from them making the final decision, whether they choose to keep them around or not.
But is that really power, though? Is that really power?
Well, Ashley seems to think so, because she already said, listen, I sent a guy home for what you did, so that's clearly telling him, listen, I've got the power to send your butt home if you don't conform to what I'm looking for, like if you're not consistent, if you don't show up, and but yeah. Sean, you're right. Power corrupts, absolutely. I was going to say that.
Yeah, and Roro too. I love what she says. Don't burn a bridge that you may have to cross again. That's something
Mhm.
that sounds like my mom would say. Exactly, exactly that. But so they bring out the cake for Zadia. They sing happy birthday. It looks like everything has went well. It's a good day for her. It's a good party. Like she says, she's surprised that it turned out to be so much fun. But in the meantime, and in the tween time, we look over in the corner and we see Mizell is pouring a drink and flirting with Vern. And he asks her, has she picked her guy? Does she have her guy? She indicates that she does not quite have her guy. Um, and okay, in the back of my mind, I'm wondering what's going on, Mizell. What are you doing over there talking to Vern? You're supposed to be with Charisse, but I don't know. I guess Tamika said she told us early on in the first weeks of the show that everyone is fair game. All the men are fair game, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about Mizell over there flirting with Vern? Is who's right, who's wrong, or are they both right? What do you guys think?
Well, listen, if it's fair game, right, then th- that's what it is. There's nothing to really be mad at. But now I think the rules have changed because, you know, Sharice doesn't have anybody other than Mizell at this point. He's the one that he's the one that she's feeling. And I think Matchmaker was trying to, Venetia just had what's her name, Gibari, or what her name is, and now she's got someone else that she's kind of interested in. So she's trying to avoid a conflict where Venetia and Sharice butt heads over this Mizell dude. But I don't think Venetia should have given her number out because it was clearly an interest for Sharice. If Sharice had said, you know what, I'm not feeling you, Mizell, then that's when I assume the fair game thing would kick in.
Okay.
But then again, I think Venetia and Sharice didn't have that conversation until the next morning when she found out how much Sharice actually liked him, and then that's when Venetia was like, maybe you know, texting all night with this guy and giving out the number was the wrong thing to do. At the time, she said it was fair game too. Like her immediate response after they spoke, and they exchanged pleasantries or whatever, like she was like, yeah, well, she seemed happy that she's got two guys that she can at least, get to know. But it wasn't until the next morning when Sharice and uh, Zadia were talking and Sharice said how much she liked Mizell. That's when Venetia was like, oh, wow, maybe I'm treading on some toes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that point. We'll get to that point, but that is a good point because, and then let me ask you this. So since you're talking about it, what did you think about Vern saying that she saw Mizell as having swag and he was relatively attractive?
Well,
Did that mean anything to you that she said that? What did you
this is
think?
the thing. Like to me, like I said, Venetia confuses me a lot because she was saying about the guy that she's connected with at the moment that he's not serious and she wants him to be more serious, right?
Right.
Then she's saying about Mizell, she liked his swag. Now, swag could be his ability to converse or ability to lightly flirt, or maybe the way he carries himself, he's got a level of esteem. Ultimately, is that what you want to base your long-term relationship? Like she says she wants a long-term relationship. She
Right.
also says she wants a guy that's not out, no, that's not stable with a 9 to 5. So if swag is what she's looking for, nah, there has to be more than that, in my opinion. And I'm sure that's just one of the aspects. But you know,
And do we see Mizell as sitting her down and making her that homemaker that she wants to be that stays out till all hours of the night?
I don't even think he got that far into the conversation. Whatever they were talking
No,
about, it wasn't about being a homemaker and things like that.
no, we didn't hear nothing about no homemaker talk.
Nope.
Um, Sean, what are your thoughts on the Mizell Vern issue, and he's pouring her the drink? What did you think about that at that moment?
Well, I went back and I watched Ready to Love season 3, Houston, and to
Okay.
me, Mazel reminds me of Joel. Because if you go back and look at that season, Vernisha and Joel did not hit it off at first. It was not until he began to show a little bit of interest in her, then he began to. And so I see some of the similarities between the character of Mazel and the character of Joel.
Oh, okay.
Smooth talker, smooth talker.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, Mr. Baby.
You heard? You
I mean, and
heard?
Joel could cut. You heard. Yeah, you heard. And what's up, baby? And so I see the pattern that Venetia is getting herself into with this guy, with Mazel. I'm wondering if it's production. I'm wondering if it's her lack of evolution from that season of Ready to Love to now, or what have you, or it's just the type of man that she attracts. I don't know. Yeah, he might have wanted what was under that hood. Yeah.
Right. I'm wondering. Speaking of Joel, I don't know. You're right. I would describe Joel as a smooth talker. I see Mizell as being the same. I think that the guys from the New Orleans region kind of have that flavor, that Southern hospitality, that Southern charm, and especially a guy of Mazzel's age of 55 or so. I think he would have all of those things, but I don't. I think my thing of it is, and we'll get to that too in a minute, is I don't like the way he moved with that action. I didn't have a problem with him talking to another lady, since Tamika said everybody is fair. The men are all fair game, but have some integrity. You're kissing on Sharice 1 minute, and in the same party, the same night, now you're flirting with Vernisha. Um, I don't know. There should be a little bit more integrity in that. And maybe he shouldn't have been pushing up so hard on Sharice to give her this false sense that he really liked her and that he was looking at her on a more serious manner, when in actuality, he is still looking around for whomever. Is that?
Um, I don't know about that because Therese, like when the lady sat down with the matchmaker, Therese said they hadn't really talked that much. Like apart from on the couch where they were cuddled up, she said it's very rare that she opens up to someone like that. So he
Right.
made her feel comfortable, but they weren't actually talking that deeply about anything.
Well, no.
And then um, I think Venetia is if she knew and saw that Mizell and Sharice were getting on well like that, kissing and stuff like that, then I don't think she should have given that number. I think she should have told him, look, what are you trying to do? You're a player. I seen you with Sharice, this, that, the other. They were in the same spot. This was out in the open. So I don't know what Venetia saw to think that it was comfortable giving the number out. Because this is where that sisterhood or sister code or whatever it is meant to kick in. Mizell, um, I would say I'm not surprised at it because he's coming into a place where his line of thinking is probably this is fair game. There's four ladies, they're all looking for a connection. He can show interest in any or all of them. It's up to them to
Yeah.
reject him. But I think knowing the mission that Venetia and Sharice are on, they've been together in the house for 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. I don't think Venetia should have given the phone number because that would have definitely caused a problem. How could she think that that wasn't going to be a problem?
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. And I see a little bit of this as Mizell having a little bit of a midlife crisis that a lot of men go through when they really want to test out, am I still hot to the women? Do women still find me attractive? And Vernisha, in all her glory, was someone that was prime for him to try to talk to, but the way he did it and the timing of it, which I guess for him, I guess he's thinking, I don't know how long I'm going to be around, so I better push up today because tomorrow's not promised. So he's, that would be a point there. Um, uh, we see Mazel say, he says he doesn't know the process. Uh, Vern is saying that everything is fair in love and war.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, Don is circulating, the Donald, as I like to call him. He's back in the picture. He's at the party. Ashley looks very happy to see him. And we move forward to the next scene where Vern and Ashley are talking about Kirsten and Mizell. So they're having this conversation, and Ashley, on the one hand, is saying that Kirsten didn't show up. She's pretty much done with him. That's her part of the conversation. And on Vern's part, she's saying that she's letting Ashley know that Mizell pushed up on her, and Ashley looks a little taken back.
Ashley knows there's going to be fireworks
Mm-hmm.
potentially from that happening. She's already seen what happened between Zadia and Sharice, right? So she knows. But I want to say Ashley, of course, Ashley's going to be happy that Donald showed up because Kirsten let her down by not showing up. So she gravitated towards the guy that she's feeling next, the rebound. And yeah, we're gonna talk about them later, but I think Ashley, she's a tad bit too erratic for me. Like she's very like, because I say that because
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it before we get there. Right, when she was flipping Kirsten for not showing up, not coming, right?
Right.
And he was so nonchalant about, okay, cool, you made your decision. He was upset that he didn't fight for her. Now she's already shown that she's interested in Donald again. So what are you trying to do here? Like the same thing we just said with Mizell having two ladies, Venetia and Sharice. Actually, why are you trying to have Kirsten and Donald in the same place at the same time fighting over you? It's gonna
Well,
create
now,
problems.
well, yeah. To be fair, you're absolutely correct. But wasn't it Tamika that suggested to the ladies that if they were seeing two guys, that they should feel free to invite them? I mean, the show is being messy. Let's be real now. Production is being messy intentionally, right?
Exactly, yeah. But the show's gonna do that, but it's still up to them to make the final decision, to make the judgment call. And
Right. That's true.
I think she's into Donald now again because Kirsten let her down and didn't call her at all. The same thing that people thought, Cam was gonna do potentially. Kirsten did that. Didn't show up, didn't contact her, didn't message her, ghosted her. And then yeah, so that left an ideal opportunity for Donald to get brought back in. And look at the kiss. It wasn't a kiss on the cheek, it was a kiss on the lips. Very warm
Yeah.
embrace. So that to me would
Mm-hmm.
spell a recipe for disaster. If Kirsten was there and saw that, it's going to lead to some jealousy or some issues. He already seems like he's the type of person to hold a grudge. And I secretly think that that's why he didn't call her, text her, nothing. He's still screwing from what she said to him a couple of weeks ago when she
Oh,
set him and said,
really?
I have the power to send you
Oh,
home. So I
right,
think
right,
he's still
right.
pouting about that.
You
His
think he's still
attitude,
pouting?
yeah, his attitude is basically saying to me, you know what? I don't like what you said a few weeks ago, so I'm gonna keep you at a certain level. I'm not gonna, if you want to let me go, fine, I'm gone. I'm not feeling you like that no more.
Oh, me be out here saying Ashley is hot as her fireplace. That is
Hmm.
funny. Why are you saying that? Because she's always fanning herself, she says. Oh my goodness.
Because she
Oh my
gets
god.
so
You
worked
guys
up over everything.
mess. But what do you think? What do you think about these issues and more, Sean? Do you see what JR is saying? I get his point though, because I think he's right that Kirsten. Two things about it. One thing, what JR is saying makes perfect sense to me, that a man, and this is why I kept saying to you, JR, that the women really don't have all this power that they think they have. They're letting the show producers gas them up, because at the end of the day, you can say whatever, you can get rid of the guy, but you don't have the power to make the guy like you and love you. That's what I'm saying. You can say, I could have said all day long about the 7'1" guy, I like him. There was 101 women that liked him. The only thing that brought us together was the fact that he liked me as much as I liked him, and he pursued me in front of all these other people. So I mean, hey, that's fine. But had he not chosen me, then I'm still unchosen. So it doesn't matter about me having fake power, that the show is endowing you with this fake power. It's not real power, because none of us have the ability to force someone to love or like us. That's what I'm saying. I just think that's kind of, but the other thing is, getting back to Kirsten too, I never saw that he ever actually liked Ashley. That has been evident throughout the show. He's only stuck around on the show because he either wanted to be on TV, or somebody said, hey, we need you to make this show work. You're tall, you've got a certain look, you play professional sports, you have the physique that we're looking for. But other than that, he's never really brought any energy to Ashley, the way the Donald has brought energy to Ashley to say that I really like you. He's never done that. He's never brought that actual energy. What do you think,
No,
Sean? Am I totally wrong about that?
No, I think you're reading it correctly. I mean, just like last week when she said, I know about exclusivity between those two, one on one, and he said, "Well, that dress is one on one," and I mean, he was making light of what she was saying, and he was trying to dismiss or sidestep what it was she was saying. And now, whether he was upset about her telling him that she had the power to get rid of him or not, maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. But nevertheless, he doesn't add anything to her. I think he'll just take away from her. And and to me, he reminds her a lot of Alex.
Ooh,
Smooth talk, smooth player. And
not
he'll be
Alex.
another Alex for her. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got lost in my
Bald
thoughts
head,
again.
bald head, bald head, bald head, tall.
Yeah, them tall,
It's a
bald-headed
pattern.
Alexes
It's
over
those
6 feet. Whew, child. Where's my fan at? Where's
it's a
my fan
pattern. It's
at?
a pattern.
Heck,
It's a
yes, a
cycle.
pattern. Wait a minute.
it's a
You
magnetic
guys, you
attraction.
guys are gonna have to excuse me for a minute.
It's a magnetic attraction, Aubrey.
You know what, JR? I'm done with you. I am done. This is it. It's over between us. For
It's the
those of you
law
to get
of
that little
attraction.
inside,
The law of
get that
attraction.
little inside joke about magnetic. Anyway, we move forward.
the the
As
polarity the polarity's off, Aubrey.
hey, wait a minute, listen. As
It's
Roro
the
would
law of
say,
attraction.
somebody. Roro, are you out there? He's talking about
Mhm.
somebody. I'm trying to do too many things, but JR, we'll continue to have that conversation. I got something I want to add to that in the private chat. So just
Okay,
keep your eyes posted for it. I can't finish it off right now. You got me laughing too hard over here.
all right, cool.
But anyway, but getting back to
Yeah,
Ashley and Donald. Let's talk about Donald and Ashley, and let's leave Alex out of it.
yeah. I was gonna ask you a question though.
Mhm,
Like, say for example, Kirsten's energy was different, and Kirsten said, "You know what? I want to fight for this. I want to stay. I
mhm.
want to be with you," and blah blah blah. And they
Right,
still
right.
brought back Donald. How do you think those interactions would have played out? Do you think Donald would have still got the kiss on the lips? Do you think Ashley would have still chosen Kirsten over Donald? Or do you
Mm,
think she would have been done with Donald based on the interaction with him and Stormy and all of that stuff, and then gone back to Donald? If the
that's
two
a
guys if the two guys were giving her the energy that she's looking for, where do you think she would go?
Oh, you know my answer. I honestly believe that she would have stuck with Kirsten, because let's look at this. First of all, she had already seen how Kirsten reacted to her, and I say this in parentheses, air quotes, her friend Stormy. She had already seen how over the top he was with her. He was so excited. She's a pretty distraction, if he was behaving that way with Stormy from the get-go, and she kept him after that, right? So can you imagine that if he had actually tried one little heartbeat, one little sentence from him would have been enough for her, I believe, to let Donald go again, because it's beginning to look like on this show that Ashley is ruled by her eyes, what she sees, what she's physically attracted to, as opposed to actual content and character and integrity. She's not really giving those equal or a higher priority from what I'm seeing. So she clearly is more physically attracted to Kirsten. She would have went for Kirsten because she kept him. The thing I could never understand was, why did she keep Kirsten after the whole display with Stormy? He would have been a goner in my book, never to have looked back upon him. That's just
Right,
my feeling. So,
right.
Sean, what's your take on it? What do you think about? That's a good question, by the way, Jr.
I think maybe she doesn't know how to end things.
Mm.
She doesn't know how to
Now
end
you know
things.
what? That's interesting.
I yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Speak on.
She just
Continue
let
to
them
speak.
linger on and linger on, and to the point she becomes overwhelmed in it. Yeah,
Hmm.
she becomes overwhelmed in things, and just let it linger on. And she does not know how to bring closure to it.
Mhm.
She doesn't. She
So
know how to
she
open the
kind
door,
of,
but she don't know how to close the door.
right. So she kind of is, I think, from what you said, I can also see that she might want to create the chaotic environment, and that's where she thrives, actually, being erratic.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I think that's the turn off for Donald. Donald seems too much of a quiet, passive guy, whereas Kirsten seems more assertive and, as you said, Aubrey, visually attractive. And I think the initial interaction, I keep going back to this, but I think the initial interaction between her and Kirsten is what he really found attractive. You know, their little back and forth, clutches pearls, and all this other stuff that they were talking about. You know, that those type of, like, she really liked that interaction, and I don't think she gets that from Donald. I think Donald gives her someone that, he's like a kiss your hand. He did it on this episode as well. Kiss the hand and tell her how much he wants to be with her and try and reassure her in that way. Kind of coming across as a sweet boy, and Kirsten is more like, nah, what? Like, you said this to me? Nah, it's out. I think Kirsten will dip as soon as he feels a certain way, or he will hold a certain level of feeling about it. Whereas Donald would be more apologetic, and and let's not get twisted. Kirsten did apologize, but you could tell it wasn't really sincere. It's more lip service to try
No,
and
yeah, it
end the
was definitely
situation.
it wasn't even a good apology. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Wait a minute, but let's look at what Mimi has to say. I think this is interesting. Don't forget that they, meaning Ashley and the Donald, have been talking behind the scenes. But the last thing that she says to this is so key. Donald is playing, or maybe playing, placeholder. What do you think about that idea, Sean? Let's get you to jump in here for a minute. What do you think about Donald playing placeholder to Kirsten?
I think he is, and I think the comeback to the house was the way to give Kirsten his exit from the show, so that Donald could get his proper place of coming out of placeholder into number one priority.
Hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Roro and I agree too that yeah, if Kirsten is really expressing himself to Ashley, she's gonna dump down like a old cold coffee. And you know how quickly we dump that down the sink. Ugh, get rid of that old cold coffee.
Hmm.
Um yeah, it's like Mimi saying that she's talking out of the side of her neck. Yeah, that's a good point. You say one thing and you do another. You do something else, right? You know. Um, I don't know. You know what it feels like to me, all jokes aside, for real. And we've all seen this, or at least most of us have probably seen this, especially as women. You know, we've seen this with our girlfriends that they say one thing, what they're going to do, um, and how they're going to get rid of this guy. Because a few scenes later, let's talk about this. So Ashley tells Kirsten, well, you know, I've gotten rid of guys in the past for behaving like you. And this is where, again, see, JR, I do not like this false pretense of having all this power, because here she is confronting this man, and you talk about size. So the size difference is about the same, because I don't think that Kirsten is by any chance 7 foot tall, but for her being the size that she is, it kind of is the same to me and my ex. So here she is looking up at this huge guy that's maybe 6'4", 6'5", and she's saying to him, you know, I've gotten rid of men for less than what you did. And I'm thinking to myself, Ashley, you sound crazy, because if you really wanted to get rid of him, to your point, Sean, she doesn't seem how to let people go, how to let that tie go. I'm not really understanding. What do you guys think is really happening? Because I'm not really understanding Ashley at this moment.
Listen, you hit the nail on the head, right? And Sean did earlier too. He said to Kirsten, I've let someone go for lack of communication before, right? But guess what? After Kirsten left, guess who comes back? The guy that she supposedly let go, and he gets a kiss on the lips, and he's back in her good books again. So she didn't really let him go, did she? She just sent him home. So that's what I'm saying. There's too much confusion in some instances. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want.
That's what I was saying. See, all this power, the thing about it is, heavy is the head that wears the crown. There are a lot of decisions to being the leader. So you're going to be a boss at work, a boss at home. All of this bossing is already getting me pooped out. It's just too much. It's too much bossing. Sean, what do you think is going on when Ashley confronts Kirsten? And Kirsten, the thing about it though too is, like I said, you only have as much power as the person cares about you, because Kirsten is looking very unbothered, like, yeah, okay, and he's looking very
unbothered. On the way out.
Say again.
Now, are you talking about when the guys came over to the house?
Yes, I'm kind of jumping around here at this point.
Are you talking when the guys came over to the house? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could tell because he didn't give an explanation. She said, "Well, I didn't see you. Heard from you yesterday." He said, "Okay, yeah, you didn't see me yesterday. No, I didn't come yesterday." I mean, it was just like so nonchalant, like, okay, like whatever.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
She, I think, and then she said, "Well, I've dismissed somebody for same thing you done." He's like, "Okay, whatever." You know, I mean, he just took it so nonchalantly. I mean, at least come up with a good lie or something. Why? Look, well, I had something to do. Something came up. I couldn't make it. You know, or I mean, then she would ask, "Well, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you text me?" You know, but at least come up with some kind of lie. But I think that was a way to probably give Donald his shine, I guess. You know, because I mean, to me, it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. You know, because she was like, first of all, I was trying to figure out, okay, if he didn't come to the party, then why was he at the house? Why did he come to the house? You know, I guess he just had to fulfill his contractual obligations. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
He probably had a woman already on the street on speed dial.
Well, yeah, and does her name start with an S and end with the, I don't know, I guess that Stormy is it a E, not a Y? Because I felt like, yeah, he's not.
Oh yeah, probably start with an S and end with an I,
or Y or E, one of them 3 letters. Because he's not interested in her. It's very clear. It's very overwhelming. I like what I think what Dorica says here, that Ashley looked like she was trying to fire somebody who had already quit. That's what I got out of it.
Right. Exactly. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I think he isn't invested as much as she would have liked him to have been at that stage. And
Okay.
that's where I think she took a shot to the ego. And that's why she said, I fight, I dismiss someone for doing what you did. And he was just like, cool, And his whole demeanor just seemed unbothered. Even when she let him go, she expected him to fight, but you know, he said, no, you already made up your mind. Like, don't backtrack now. So he's holding her accountable for what she's saying. Like, you don't want me to be here no more, cool, I'm out. And like I said, I think part of that stems from how what she was saying to him about um, you know, before when she said, yeah, I'll let someone go. And even before then, the way that
You,
she dressed him down about the friend situation, even though she didn't go in too hard, she chose to go in on Stormy more. But yeah, he wasn't feeling her, like nowhere near as much as she wanted him to. So he didn't even say bye on the way out. Like as soon
mm-mm.
as he said you made your decision, so
She
I'm gonna
almost
leave.
jumped in
It's all
front of
good.
him to say that last little piece. I was like, girl, he about to run you over. But Kiki nails it. She says no man wants to be compared to another man. And I would say
Yeah.
we can add man, we could add woman, but especially a man, because we know you guys have typically kind of weak and fragile egos. So no, I mean, like, why are
Both
you?
do.
That's what I said. Why are you bringing this up about what you did with another man? That's almost as crazy on our other show that we cover, Married at First Sight, when Lauren is telling Ariana, oh yeah, just a couple months ago I was flipping it and dipping it and spreading it wide with this other guy.
Mhm.
Don't nobody want to hear that, girl.
Exactly. So I think
Use
there
some
is
emotional IQ in some of this stuff.
exactly. I think you're right. I think there is a little bit of ego with that, but I think it's both sides. I think Ashley's ego definitely been bruised, and
But that's the power part, JR. I've been trying to tell you that
exactly,
with that power goes that ego.
exactly. And with guys, yeah, we tend to don't want to hear about your history because we don't want to think about another guy being with you. Like we want
No,
to.
not at
We're
all.
not saying you have to be a virgin or clean or pure or anything, but we want to keep an image of you in our mind that you are who you are when we see you, when we
With
meet you.
just you.
Yeah,
I
we don't want to
get
hear
it.
about the shenanigans way back and what you're doing
No,
beforehand.
and if those shenanigans were way back or even, 2 weeks, 2 months ago, and we're
Yeah,
just meeting, you don't really want to hear about it. And
we
I
don't want to hear
promise
that.
you, women should not be telling guys this story because it just
No.
some things. Let me tell you something. The more things change, and we look at, people say, "Oh, that's old fashioned, that's old school." Let me tell you something. Some things ain't gonna never change, and that's one of them. That's not gonna ever
Nope.
change. Men don't want to hear about women's escapades with other men, unless, of course, if they're, allegedly P Diddy, Puffy. What are we calling them this week? I'm
Brother
sorry,
love,
huh?
brother love.
Yeah, brother love, because most men, a normal average guy, is not trying to hear about your escapades with another guy. That's just foolish. I
Uh-uh.
mean, I don't understand why Ashley doesn't already know this at her big age. Let's see what I love this. I put this up on the screen before, but I want to focus on this because I think this Dr. Yancey, she really nailed it. I think that's another thing I feel like when I'm watching Ashley, I feel like she's always responding out of fear. Fear, whether it's fear of being by herself, whether it's fear of losing someone. And you know what, Dr. Yancey, I wonder sometimes though too, is it because we see this later in this episode when she's talking to Donald, I wonder if it's fear of being played. She's got such a phobia, and I think she was hurt so badly by Alex, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was also by other men in her past because it seems to be like a pattern that keeps repeating in her life. I think she doesn't like the idea of being played, and I feel like she's always trying to jump ahead and get ahead of the enemy and break up with them first and tell them off and do all this stuff without really truly uh without really truly analyzing the situation for facts rather than feelings, because one of the things we know about Ashley is that she lives in her emotions, and I think that's part of her biggest problem, living in her emotions. What do you think, Sean?
Well, just like I put up there, this behavior didn't just start yesterday. It's something that she needs validation for. I mean, to me, if I was on the reciprocating end of that, like, okay, you told me, you dismissed me, and I said, okay, and then she get upset, like, well, you didn't even fight. I think, what you want me to say? I mean, you already dismissed me. I mean, what is there to say? There's nothing else to say. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm just gonna leave at this moment, So I think she's seeking validation because she really does not know who she is, and when she does not know who she is, she looks for somebody to complete her.
And also, did Donald fight for her when she dismissed him? How much fighting did Donald do? He apologized beforehand, and then she said, "No, like, I'm moving in a different direction," and that was it. He didn't fight. He just said, "Okay, I'm cool." But the attitude was different.
Yeah,
all he did was just stepped up his text game.
I'm gonna say this though to kind of combat what you're saying though, JR. I'm going to say this conversely, though. Let's be fair. So when the Donald was first questioned about not having contacted her for over 2 days, and she didn't like that, talking about Ashley, right? Okay. But the Donald made a point of going into his phone and showing her the texts. So in my way of thinking as a woman, he did fight for her. He did say, look, wait a minute. We've got a simple misunderstanding. I did text you. I felt like maybe you were ignoring me. So yeah, I didn't pick up the phone to call you. But look, I text you on 2-3 separate occasions. Here they are in my phone. She went to her phone. She said she didn't see it. It wasn't there. Okay, fine. It's a Android iPhone snafu. But I felt like he did fight. He did try to fight for her. It was a little bit different energy because she wasn't pouncing on him the way she pounced on Kirsten. But I felt like he fought for her. And not only that, but let's look at this. The Donald was the one that reached out and started calling her every day. He says, if you want me to call you daily, then that's what I'll do because I want to be with you. So that's the energy I'm getting from the Donald, which is totally unlike the energy I'm getting from Kirsten, which, by the way, I want to know this question when Ashley comes on our show to be interviewed. I want to know, did Kirsten call her every day? Did she have a different standard for Kirsten than she had for the Donald?
Probably. And I think you're partially right. Yeah. I think, I can agree with elements of that. But the thing is, he showed her the texts before he got eliminated, before she sent him packing. So he was trying to say, look, I did text you, trying to reassure her. It wasn't that I ghosted you. I sent the messages. They just didn't go through. He still decided after all of that to send him home. And at that point, there was no fight. He was just like, yeah, okay, I understand this, that, the other. But you are correct. He did step his text game up, and that gives placeholder vibes because she, like Sean says, doesn't know how to end the situation. She still was giving him hope by continuing to text back and forth with him afterwards, after sending him home. So that, again, leads me to the point where it's like, girl, do you know what you even want? Like, you sent the guy that you liked home because you were attracted to this Kirsten guy. Kirsten doesn't have the energy that you want. So now you're going back to Donald. That's what that shows me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting ready to say.
Go ahead.
She was trying to get rid of Donald to get the Kirsten. She was trying to get rid of Donald to get the Kirsten, and then she was trying to get rid of Kirsten to get back to Donald. So I think she's playing two ends against the middle, Exactly. At the bowling alley, she was trying to get rid of Donald because she thought she had something with Kirsten. But then after the party, she was trying to get rid of Kirsten because she wanted to go back with Donald. And then somebody said she did not want to have another TV relationship not working out.
Exactly.
Don't want to be embarrassed twice.
On national TV, yeah. That's a point.
All those women had bad situations that ended on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, but Zadia was of her own making, though. Well, yeah. No, Zadia walked off with the guy that who was that?
Naeem.
Naeem, yeah, Naeem.
Isaac Hayes Jr.
Zadia got
it was a placeholder. He was a placeholder.
Well, yeah, for
he was a
Dante,
placeholder.
we think he was a placeholder in lieu of Dante, who she mushed in the forehead, right? Yeah,
He was a placeholder to make sure that she had someone at the end of the show that she left with. That's all that
right.
was.
So she could do the scene on the
There you
bridge,
go.
right?
But
Yeah.
they
So
did continue for 9 or 10 months afterwards.
There you
9 or
go.
10 months. So something was going on. I don't know. But guys, wait a minute. Let's get to this scene here. So matchmaker Tamika Lee talks to all four of the ladies as they sit in the living room. Ashley says that Donald came through for her. Bernicia acknowledges that they have discussed, her and Sharice have discussed Mazel's faux pas and his lack of integrity. And Ashley tells us that she's what are my notes here? Oh my gosh, I can't read this. Ashley tells us that she is going to. I think. Oh, that she's going to let Kirsten go, right? And it's obvious. This is what I don't understand. Okay, this part. So it's obvious that Tabari being so animated irritates Vern, but I don't understand why. Since Vern is like this outgoing, bubbly type of person that loves to be out and about. Why is it bothering her about his sense of humor? Do you guys get that?
I think she's intimidated by his larger than life personality to a degree. He's very friendly. He went around the room and hugged all the ladies, said hi to everyone. And her
Mhm.
comment was, she doesn't she made a comment, something like, she doesn't want to be with someone who everybody's laughing at. I didn't see anybody laughing at him. I thought everybody was kind of, he seemed like a jokester, someone who's more has a sense of humor, evidently. And,
Right.
you know, she's gone from, I want to be out here, having fun. I think she said she doesn't know how to have fun, but she wants to learn how to have fun. And this guy seemed like a fun type of dude. So again, I'm just like, what do you want? You can't have everything. What do you want? You got a guy who's got a sense of humor. If you don't have the same sense of humor, that's fine. But you can't moan that you want to have fun in your life and then you meet a guy that is fun and you don't want to open yourself up to him. That's contradictory. But I also think that she's going to be very insecure of someone that takes the attention away from her to a degree.
That's what I was wondering. I was sitting there, I kept thinking to myself, nobody's laughing at this guy. They're actually enjoying that he's being playful, that he's outgoing, like is and then I started wondering, I said, now wait a minute. Is she wanting to be the center of attention? Is that what this is about?
Mm-hmm. All
Wow.
eyes on
So
her.
yeah, all eyes on her. So I wonder, with that being the case, if Jabari and her were out, but he's already saying it. He wants to be in bed by 9:30. So Jabari ain't gonna be hanging out till midnight, 1 o'clock up in the club, up in the bars and all that.
That's true, but
So
he isn't giving the vibe that he wants to take attention away from her. Though.
no,
He,
right, exactly, right.
he just wants a more traditional, typical type of relationship dynamic where they finish work and have time together after work.
Well, then I think he's the guy for her. Then I say
That's
if
what I
she
was
can get
saying.
away with it, if they can work on a compromise, and she can say, "Hey, baby, I'm out at the club. Here's my tracker. You can see exactly where I'm at, which club I'm at. If you ever want to peep in or join us or whatever." I think that's the guy for her, because most guys that are outgoing, and especially if they're good looking and outgoing, they are going to have attention on them. Sorry to tell you, but that's just how that goes. Like my 7'1" guy, he's certainly going to have attention on him, and I didn't
Exactly.
resent him for it. It didn't bother me not one lick.
And
Didn't
that's
bother me
why
one lick.
I made the comment about the swag earlier. Like, if a guy's got swag, then that means, there's more than likely he's going to get attention in the room, whether it be from other women or guys are going to compliment the way he dresses or whatever. But, swag means you're stylish, you're fashionable, and the only way you develop that is by being out in social circles for people to see you and give you that type of label. You don't get swag from just being, in the house like Jabari is, 9 to 5, come home, and that's not swag. he strikes me as a more down-to-earth guy. And, you know, I think Jabari is typically what, you know, that stability that he's going to provide, that should go a long way. He's got a 9 to 5 structured. To some ladies, that is appealing.
Right. I find it very appealing. Let me raise my hand. Okay, go ahead.
Right, but I think the entrepreneur type guy that Venetia may be aiming for, because she discarded Jabari, like I said a few weeks ago, I think that's the worst thing she's going to want, because you're not going to spend no time together. You get a guy that's as busy as she is, out in the clubs, hosting parties, attending events, sometimes without her, sometimes not even in the same town. He's going to be pissed about it. Excuse my French.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. You think so, Darika? Venetia seems like the kind of woman that mothers men, probably always telling them what to do and how they should conduct themselves. I see that is possible, but what I've always wondered about Venetia too, though, is she used to a certain kind of guy from her youth? Let's say, and I don't know this. This is just me wondering. Is she used to the kind of guy like me and my girlfriend when we were really, really young? She grew up in the suburbs, and I thought always kind of had a silver spoon in her mouth. But for whatever reason, she was always attracted to the bad boys. Like she always liked the guy that had that illicit activity. They had all that extra cash money, if you follow my drift. And I'm wondering, for whatever reason, just my own, for sake of big city and how things go in the big cities with some guys. I'm wondering if that was Venetia when she was younger, and if she's ever really stopped to think about that the things that she's attracted to, it's a lifestyle from somebody that's living an undercover life, if you will. And I don't mean like down low. I don't mean that kind of undercover, but a guy that probably isn't paying all of his taxes. He's out there whining and dining you because he's got this extra money because he's doing something under the table that he ain't got no business doing. I just wonder that, because not to say, that all entrepreneurs are illegal. Most of them probably aren't. I know they aren't, but I just wonder, from that big city lifestyle, are we still kind of living in those hip hop days of the old gangster, the old dope guy, that's got all this extra money? Because I've never really been attracted. I like guys that have money, but I like to know how they earn their money. So the dope guys never held any real attraction for me, but I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering with Venetia, and all of these ladies that are saying they want the guy on the one hand to be affluent, have money, wants to travel, but on the other hand, they want this guy to have 24 hours a day to spend with them. Is this crazy or what?
Of course it is, because the money that you're looking for him to provide in your lifestyle, he has to work for. And it's very rare that he's going to work, Obviously, she's eliminated Jabari. That 9 to 5 lifestyle and the money that probably comes in is less than she wants, right? If this guy is earning as much as she's looking for, then she has to be prepared to take the sacrifice that he ain't gonna be around as much. He ain't gonna be there. He's gonna be meeting and greeting just like she is. But also, I think early on in this season, Venetia did say that she doesn't really date much because she probably spends a lot of time working, and the guys that I think her children are like probably late teens, early 20s, somewhere around there. So, she was in a long-term relationship with their father or whatever. And that was a long time ago. Dating games changed in the last 5 years, especially. So she's getting out there.
The dating game has changed. Oh my goodness! Changed in what specific way that you're referring to?
Well, like obviously, social media has affected the way dating is, and then you have different beauty standards. You have different things that are trending now than used to. So, if you put all of that together, then you can't just meet someone and look into each other's eyes and hold hands and get married. Now you got to factor in all these different standards and different things that you're looking for, and what their past was like, and are they traumatized, and did they have counseling or therapy, or how many kids they got, how many baby mothers they got, how many baby fathers they got. Like it's so many things that go into relationship. Are your finances up to scratch? Is your credit rating
That's
is
a lot.
exactly, you got so many different criteria. And I think the danger is settling for some of these ladies, settling when you could have found better if you just held out and not giving this guy a chance.
Oh, these ladies are cracking me up in the chat, man. They're talking about Joel.
Listen, the moment Joel put his hand on what's her name? It was I think it was Chrysanthemum or Stacey B. One of those.
Yeah,
Can't
Stacey
remember.
B. Stacey B.
Yeah,
It
they
was
were
Stacey
posing
B.
for pictures and there was
Yep.
nothing going on. Nothing at all. But the fact that they
Nope.
posed for the pictures, she went right off. She was insecure and
Okay,
jealous about
it's
them.
starting to come back to me. You're right. She sure did. She sure did. She went
Yeah.
off. She went off like a
But
firecracker.
right, but Joel was that type of guy. Joel was trying to promote his music and whatever else he was
Right.
doing. I think he had a day job and then he was also a musician making music videos and things like that.
Right. That's right. Because he
So
was trying to be a rapper. But you're right
exactly.
though. Joel was that outgoing kind of guy. So that must be what triggers her with Tabari. She doesn't like that outgoing kind of guy with the ladies because he was getting around saying hi to Zadia and
All
Ashley.
of them saying good to see you again and things like that.
Yeah,
Now,
she don't
there
want
was
no
one
parts
other
of that.
point. There was one other point. Like,
What's that?
remember a few moments ago in the chat, someone said she likes to mother men and things like
Yes.
that. I think
Yes.
if she was really like that, she wouldn't have turned down the opportunity to mother this dude that she met on this episode. He was much younger. She immediately eliminated him
Ooh,
based on his
child.
age alone.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get my bell. You talking about Brother Mike. We haven't even gotten there yet. But Brother Mike,
Yeah.
I'm over on Instagram, okay? It's actually Aubrey on YouTube. And if you need some mothering, I don't normally like younger men, but Mike, can I just say, Mike, you are so fine. You are Mike. Okay, y'all go ahead. Let me stop. Mike look like yeah, Mike. Yeah, okay. Anyway, let's continue. Let me find my fan
Might look
here.
like a
Let's
Mike,
continue.
John.
Mike was bringing it. Mike was bringing it
All
with
right,
the
come on,
looks, and
Ashley. Come on, Ashley.
I'm not normally one that gives a lot of priority to the good looks, but Mike was speaking to my soul.
Yeah, you might need to turn on the aircon, Aubrey.
Pardon me?
You might need to turn on the air conditioning.
Yes, I might need to. You're right about that. You are right about that because Brother Mike Brother Mike and the muscles. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Mike looked like JR. Mike looked like he's been a member at your VIP training camp. Mike had those kind of muscles. I was like, okay, all right, Mike. Whatever you say, baby. Whatever you say. Okay. Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
But Venetia didn't feel the same way. Like she was just like, nah, he's too young. And I think if she had that mothering spirit where she likes to be, have that dynamic, that's an instant choice for her to have made, like to keep him if she wanted that level of power and dominance, right?
Yeah, that's where you're right. You're right. So that's interesting. But I think I get her point though. She can clearly see, and I'm laughing and I'm joking and I'm teasing halfway. But I don't think that, to her point though, I can see that is not a long-term relationship with the age gap of like 11 years, her being the senior. She's right. That would not be a long-term relationship, but possibly a fun fling, possibly a fun fling. But I think if she's looking for a long term, that part she was very clear on is that and then the other part of that is you got to wonder at 31, does he have any children? Is he going to want children? Because Vern, I believe she said that she's done having children because she's got her 3 kids.
Of course, like if you have a child with Venetia now, their siblings are going to be in their 20s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Vern is trying to do anything along those lines because, like you said, her kids. I think the youngest one, I think she said is 15. But yeah, that's a big age gap for children.
Mm-hmm.
And as a woman in her early 40s, I'm just thinking too that the extra strain that takes on the body. I don't think she wants to have any more children. Yeah. Oh, look at you. Oh, Sean. Yeah. Mike works construction. Yeah. I got some construction
Construction.
over here for him to work on.
The other
Mm-hmm.
the other
It's
thing though,
construction.
like
It's
the other
construction.
construction, yeah. Like the other thing though is Venetia ain't gonna be having no kids because that's gonna take away from her time being out socializing and mingling at 11 o'clock. Like she wants to be in the house.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. She
Fuck
can
all of that.
she can afford to be away from the kids now late at night because they pretty much got
They're
their own
grown up.
social life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
they're able to cook and make these dinners that I don't know. I thought Fern was supposed to be the homemaker. She wanted to be the homemaker, so I'm not really sure what's really going on.
Mm.
Um, let's get to Mazel because that's the big one. We're talking about old players, and my title of this video is "Where Do Old Players Go?" We see that Mazel is getting nervous with Charisse. Charisse tells him, "Where do we go from here?" Because she's saying, you haven't heard from you. She says, "But I heard that some other lady has heard from you." And he's like, "Well, no, I haven't called anybody." But then they get to the texting part, and he admits that, yeah, he maybe text somebody. So that's the new thing. You can say he can honestly say that he didn't call anybody, but he did text somebody. Then he starts telling her, Tamika comes over to intervene, and then he starts giving this long exaggerated story about how he had some bags that he left. He couldn't find his bags. He was waiting till midnight, and that Vernicia was concerned about him. And I'm going, wait a minute, what in the heck is going on? Is this guy lying? JR, is he lying? Is he telling an untruth? What is he doing?
Okay, so this is what I think happened. I think he was talking a lot of fluff,
Yeah.
meaning he was BSing her because he
Yep.
didn't know how to tell her that Venetia's personality and conversation is a lot better than Charisse's. So rather than be cold and say, listen, you don't seem like you got good conversation piece. You just want me to talk. You just want me to talk and give out all the information about myself, and then you're going to stand there and judge me based on what I say to you. That's what Charisse does, right? He realized that
Oh,
and would rather be having a conversation with someone who knows how to, have a convo, and that's Venetia, right? But
okay.
the other
Yes.
thing is, this is another contradiction. Charisse don't want to be up late night. She loves her sleep, so he couldn't call her anyway. He went off on Zadia earlier on for interrupting her sleep. Listen,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
exactly. So if her sleep's so important, why would she be expecting to have late night texts and calls from myself? And
Mm,
again, this also goes back to this could have all been avoided if, because it looked like Mizell and Venetia just had a conversation and he's pouring drinks. The moment it got to, let me get your phone number, I would have expected Venetia to have said no, because it's going to create too much tension in the house. And the fact that she didn't, and she took the number and was up texting late night with him, I think there was a level of mutual interest there.
mm.
And that is where I think Charisse's real hurt comes from. The fact that, he also is attracted to Venetia in a different way. Charisse doesn't want to compete. Like someone said, men don't want to compete against each other, but some women don't want to compete against each other all the time either. And that's
Mm.
what Charisse, in a conversation, if you're just looking at conversation skills, she can't compete with someone who's going to be more open and warm uh, because she's not like that. She likes to listen to you, let you spill out all your past and all your thoughts and theories, and then she's going to sit down there and pop them one by one. Yeah, that doesn't go with what I want. That doesn't. Now that's not what I want. No, you did that. Oh, that's terrible. Da, da, da. So she's got more of a judgmental spirit or a more critical approach. A lot
Yeah,
of
she
guys,
does.
a lot of guys I can imagine wouldn't want to feel that heat. And that interrogation definitely made Mizell sweat because he realized that, you know what, it's not fair game. It's not you can date however many of these ladies at one time. The ladies can date however of the men at one time. But it's not the guys' show. This is the ladies' show to be able to do that. That's the empowering part.
Right. What do you think? What do you think about that, Sean? Do you agree with JR, or do you have a different take
Well,
on it?
I agree with JR. But Tamika Lee asked the lead-in question. She said when she was asking about the ladies' night, and then she said, "Did any man step out of bounds?" And then Venetia said, "Step out of bounds or fair game." So I mean, I guess we go along as we play along as we go along.
Okay.
I did not buy I did not buy the story. He was talking about lost his bags until midnight, and then talking about it was endearing, that she was so concerned that he couldn't find his bag. So I mean, of course, we only saw the edit portion, but I didn't see him come in with anything, except for a little gift for and I think there was some kind of interest on Venetia's part, and I don't know how loud they were talking with Sharice, Mizell, and Tamika, and then when Venetia and Ashley were over in the other room, and Venetia said, "Don't downplay me like that." I knew it was some BS. So it sounded like talking out of two sides of her neck. She told me she knew it was some BS, but then she gave the man her number. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. What the chips we fall on that one. I don't know.
And also, that was the interesting choice of words she used. You're not going to downplay me like that. So imagine if he was talking her up with the energy of being the same.
Yeah.
Like if he had said, "Yeah, you know what? I was talking to Venetia because I connected with her, and we were just having good conversation." What would Venetia's response have been then? Would she have felt like it was a bad move, or do you think she would have tried to go with Mizell and see where that connection would lead?
I got the feeling that's a good point. You pointed what you're saying, because Venetia distinctly said, "Yeah, he tried to downplay me." I'm in agreement with her though on that. I think it sounds maybe a little egotistical as we're listening to it play back. But what I felt she was saying was this: you're not going to try to talk to me, ask me for my number so that we can talk, and you can text me up and with all those "what you doing, good morning, gorgeous," and all those little fake copy and paste texts that men send women every single morning. You're not going to do that to try to get my number. But then when you're being held accountable in front of the camera, say, "Oh yeah, my bags were lost, and Venetia, she was being all sweet and kind, and she was helping me out." You're not going to downplay that you actually had a romantic and a physical attraction to me, and you wanted my number just because now all of a sudden it's about your bag. No, that's what you're not going to do. And maybe that is just a little egotistical on our part. But what we're saying is that you're going to profess that you like us, and you're not going to downplay it, because if you do, you really what you're really showing us is you have no integrity. You're a liar. You're a liar. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that, but he was in the kitchen getting fried by Sharice and Tamika about this, and I don't think he wanted to come clean as to what his true intentions were with Venetia, like the true attraction that he may have with her. And I think he should have. I think he should have said, "Listen, I thought it was fair game, and I think Venetia's fine. So that's why I took her number." And she gave me her number because there was mutual interest. And then I would have left it to Venetia to explain why she gave her phone number in the first place to a guy that he knew was there for Sharice.
Now that's a good point, because that part I don't think we saw in this episode, and maybe they'll save it for the next episode, but I don't think that was ever addressed. But to be fair, like, I'm going to bring the heat for Mizell not being honest, that he really physically was attracted or romantically, physically, both of those things attracted to Vernisha and wanted to talk with her. And to your point, JR, you make a very good point. Vernisha is definitely the better conversationalist between her and Charisse any day of the week, right? Twice on Sunday. But to your point though, Vernisha could have been a little more forthright with her girl Charisse and said, hey, this is what happened. He asked me, and I did feel like he had this swag. And since Tamika told us that anything is the men are fair game, just been a little bit more upfront and have a little bit more conversation. And we don't know what they said that was edited out, but we just know that she kind of just told her kind of very matter of fact that, yeah, he asked me and I gave it to him. So definitely you don't get the feeling that Vernisha really yeah, I just want to finish this one part, JR, and then you can talk. You don't get the feeling that Vernisha really has a lot of fondness for Charisse, to be fair, either. But go ahead.
The men are fair game, but the women aren't.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I think they are. I think it's just that the women on this show, the way it seems to be set up, is that the men should be accountable. But I think that's, like I said, I think that's across the board. I think that Vernisha did tell, she did tell Charisse, right?
Yeah.
Charisse, okay, if you look at it, so Mizelle did not tell Charisse. This is the part where we women are getting upset. Mizelle did not ever tell, and if Vernisha hadn't told Charisse, Charisse would have never been the wiser. You see what we're saying? He's trying to be sneaky about it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And Vernisha was upfront about it. And, you can pick your poison. Would you rather someone tell you in front of your face, listen, I got your man on my phone and he's blowing up my phone and we're texting back and forth all night? Would you rather that than someone who's saying, you know what, I thought it's fair game. I thought I could go after whoever I'm attracted to and I don't have to disclose my business with what I'm doing with somebody else?
Me, I always want to know. I like to be in the light and not the dark. So, because at the point where, because remember now, Charisse has already let this man kiss her on the forehead, which she has told us in confessional is not, or she said it, actually, I think to the other ladies, this is not something that she normally does. And we can all agree that we see that in Charisse. All of these women, particularly Charisse and Ashley, are very guarded, right? So by the time she's letting this man kiss her on the forehead and she's actually talking him up like, I think I could like him. Let's assume that Mizelle, if he has children, he probably does. But let's assume at 55, his kids are probably grown and gone, right? So why wouldn't she like him? I mean, I just rather know. Like, if Alex is kissing on somebody, I'm in Mizelle. If Mizelle is kissing on somebody, I want to know about it. I don't want to be the last person to know. That makes me a fool. That makes me a fool, the laughing stock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And more importantly than that, that means that my feelings are going to get crushed.
Yeah. I get that. But listen,
can I ask this question?
Charisse was sitting on the couch with one dude, and the guy tried to put his arm on her, and she said, did I give you permission to talk to me, to touch me like that, right? That happened on the same day when Mizelle put his arm around her and kissed her on the forehead or whatever. So it depends how much he likes you, just like in most cases. If someone likes you, then they'll allow it. If they don't like you, then they'll close it, shut it down. And to show Orchid, it amazes you how I always find a way to make Charisse the villain. I haven't made Charisse the villain at all. I'm saying, if anything, if you want to call someone a villain, I'm saying Mizelle and Venetia are the villains in this instance, not Charisse. Because if they exchange numbers, they both knew that Charisse had interest in Mizelle to some level because he was there for her. So they both were culpable. So I'm not trying to make a Charisse a villain. Not in this instance. Just saying, Venetia seems like the more warmer, more friendlier conversation. And so I'm not surprised that Mizelle did
that. JR, Miss Show Orchid. she has something to say to you. It's on the screen, so you can digest that while.
Yeah. That's why I just responded to you.
Oh, okay. All right, then you did. Okay. Sean, you were about to say something. We're sorry to keep cutting you off. Go ahead.
Well, okay, that's fine. Well, let me say this. Could it been, I'm just take the opposite approach. Could it have been that Mizell thought that Venetia was fair game because Sharice had Mizell and Dancy at the party?
Mm-hmm. That could be true too.
Number two, could it have been that because Mizell didn't do anything any different for Venetia than he did for Sharice. He wouldn't get Sharice a drink. He wouldn't get Venetia a drink, finish her drink off for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, he just said, I was just being friendly.
Could very well.
So, I mean, she had two people. I mean, he didn't have anybody. He didn't know where he stood. He didn't know where he stood with her. I'm just playing devil's advocate on that.
Mm-hmm. That's very true, Sean.
That's interesting.
Venetia did have less connections at the party. That's for sure. Yeah, Danzy was there. I can definitely agree with what you just said, man. I can see that.
Well, so I want to get the consensus on you.
We don't know whether he saw that.
Whether he saw what now? I'm sorry.
We don't know whether he saw it with him. The guy had his hand. We don't know whether he saw it. The guy had his hand around Sharice. He might have seen that and said, "Hey, look."
So you're saying that maybe he saw that and okay, yeah. But at the same time, wouldn't he have also seen that Venetia had both Contrail there and she had Tabari there? And Tabari, I'm sure he put his hands on her waist while he was talking to her at one point in the party. So why wouldn't he have had the same reaction to that?
But that's what he means by
that wasn't his competition. That was not his. Yeah. That wasn't his competition.
And if both ladies have the same energy with different guys there, then that is fair game. There isn't, there's no one especially holding out for him.
I kind of see where you guys are going with this, but somehow I don't like it. I think you guys still end up having the power no matter how we look at it. That's the thing. The men still have the power. That's why I said this whole idea that make a move. You guys, the production company, Ready to Love is blowing smoke up these women's butts. I don't care how you. Sorry for being so graphic, but that's what they're doing. They're blowing smoke up their arses, okay? Because there's no way you got the control and the power when these men are moving like sideways, vertically, bilaterally, just all kind of ways. There's just a whole lot going on here. But let's just talk about this part and we'll wrap this segment up. What did you guys think when Mizell seemed like he was actually surprised that Sharice was showing him the door and that she decided to move in a different direction? I almost fell off my sofa. I'm like, dude, did you really think she was going to do something differently? Like he looked shocked.
I think he was shocked at the timing. I think he was like, wait a minute, I've only been here for 5 seconds. Like, but yeah, like he had to go, man. There's no way he was going to rebound from that because Venetia was upset at being downplayed and Sharice was upset that he was talking to Venetia all night, not her. So there was no way he was gonna stick around.
Right. You in this private chat, you guys are a mess. We have our own show going on privately back here. It's a mess. But anyway, whatever, JR, whatever. Okay. So guys got me all lost. Sean, what did you think about that? Why was he shocked? Why did Mizell have the nerve to be surprised and shocked that he was being shown the door?
Well, I mean, I guess he felt like he did nothing wrong. He felt like his story was believable to him, of course. And he felt like only. I guess he felt like he was. I guess he felt like he was jumped, by Tamika and Sharice. I don't know how Venetia felt around with him. I mean, it'll be up to Venetia whether to text him back or not. I don't know if they're going to continue communication or not. We'll see. So it's going to be very interesting. I think that he had his feelings hurt. That's why he said, "All right, see you later. All right, bye." And I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he also is 55 or something like that.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to be held to a standard of you're too old to be playing about with different women,
That's what I think. I definitely think that. I feel like we had two players in this episode, and he was just one of them. You got a player that, some people may say he's not quite old yet because he's only he's under 40, but I mean, I feel like you've been dating since you were a teenager. So by the time you hit 40, that's about 20 years that 20 plus years that you've been doing this. So you're a veteran. You're a veteran at playing these games, and still with Mizell playing games and still getting caught and looking crazy. That's the thing about it. You're looking totally crazy out here in the wind. But let's move forward to Zadia. So Zadia, she is still complaining about Cam, but I want to know, she's complaining, but I'm always wondering and asking myself now at this point, since they seem to have this obvious chemistry and connection that JR is always talking about, what is Zadia willing to sacrifice for this love that she, when I say love, affection, the connection, what is she willing to sacrifice if she really feels like every time we see her out on a date with another guy on a blind date, she's saying all she talks about is Cameron to the camera, right? In the confessional. So now if Cameron is the one, what has she thought about? Has she thought forward to the future? Am I willing to move down here to the South? Because Cameron has clearly said that he's not moving to DC.
And he's a busy guy. So if she does move down to New Orleans, then how much time are they going to spend together?
That's true. That is true. I would think now if you're moving down there, so how are the young people doing it nowadays? Because I've never done the shacking up thing, but I'm thinking that if they're going to talk for a while after the show is over and she actually commits to moving down there, wouldn't she be moving in with him? So would they be living together, cohabitating? So then that automatically builds in a little bit more time because you got to see each other every day. What do you guys think about that idea? Because I just don't see her moving down there just to get a place to live alone again. Like, you could just stay in DC if that's the case.
Exactly.
Well,
and
Zadia's commitment is only as strong as Camille's approval.
Ooh. Did you hear that, Zadia? Ooh. I've been wondering about that too, because when Camille came down to meet Cameron, it seemed like whatever Camille says is what, you're right. It does seem like that's what Zadia is going to go along with. But why? You're a full-grown woman. Why do you have to get approval from somebody that's not even your mother? This is a friend, a equal, a peer. Why do you need her approval? She's got a whole relationship with a guy that she met on the show that you were both on. They're not even married yet. They're not even engaged. So how is she telling you what to do? Yeah, we're gonna come to that. I see somebody wrote in the chat. Yeah. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I mean, sometimes, when you got that people in your life as friends, then sometimes they try to run your life for you. I mean, they give you unsolicited advice, and the next thing you know, they got control of your life. No, you don't need to move there. He need to move here. So. He can move here. And what's wrong with him moving here? Just gonna rewrite the whole show.
Yeah, and gonna
We write the
rewrite
whole
her
show
whole
for her,
life.
right?
Right. They're gonna rewrite her whole life because basically, you all of us, I feel like as women, all of us, mostly all of us, have had girlfriends and associates, female associates that we entertain that we know whenever we meet a guy and the guy likes us, that associate and that friend is in your life solely to tell you why it's not going to work out and giving you bad advice. And so that's when your wisdom has to kick in and you have to determine, is this friend or foe? Just like with Ashley and Stormy, you got to figure out if this is friend or foe. And am I going to listen? Is this wisdom? Are they giving me wise advice? Does this person even have a man in their life? Are they even in a committed relationship? Are they engaged? Are they in fact married? Do they seem to have a healthy relationship? These are all things that you need to be asking yourself. And then you really need to have some wisdom of your own where you can independently look at your relationship and make your own decisions. I don't think that I'm going to rely on one person to make my decision, especially if that person isn't my mother who's no longer here with me. I'm not relying on any other female friends to make my decision romantically. I'm not going to do that.
I think that's a tough one because Camille is still
True.
with Cornelius, and that
Mm-hmm.
relationship has lasted for a couple of years now, I guess.
Yes.
So I think Camille may be speaking from a position of experience, having gone through the dating show process and still being with her man that she left with. But I didn't like at the time the way they tried to flip it to make it seem like, why doesn't Cam come to DMV? No, the show is to move to New Orleans. And I
Right.
think career-wise, it may not be. I mean, obviously, if she's successful where she is, then it's going to be a huge sacrifice, right? And I assume she is. Starting over from scratch is going to be difficult no matter what. But the field that he is in, which is pharmaceuticals, he may be able to tie that into her business and hit the ground running if he has connections that may help in the fitness industry. So
Yeah. He
it could
said
be an
though,
intriguing.
but the only thing about it though, JR, to your point, if you're talking about if you're talking about what I think you're talking about him moving to DC, he's already kind of admitted that he doesn't want to live in an area where they have the seasonal cold spurts like we do here in Michigan. DC is not quite as cold as Michigan. You don't get quite as much snow, but you do get cold snaps and you do get snow on the road. He said that coming from Omaha, Nebraska, he don't ever want to see snow again. And trust me, I can relate as a person,
Yeah.
a snowbird that's grown up in snow.
Yeah, like I remember him saying it, but it was in response to her and Camille saying, well, Camille in particular saying, yeah, look, like, when what would you think about moving to DC? Because, and then Zadi was talking about how she doesn't like the heat or something like that, So he was like, no, like, I'm rooted where I am and I've built up my career. I'm not going nowhere. He shut that down straight away. Like, he ain't going nowhere. And the onus isn't for any of the guys to relocate to Houston or DMV or Atlanta or wherever the ladies are.
Right.
The whole premise is that these ladies are prepared to date these guys, and if they find a connection, then they'll move from where they are from to go and be with these guys. That is the premise. Don't try to change it now.
Right. So you've got power, but with power comes what? Responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got this responsibility that you're on this show. We are introducing you to these available single men who are supposed to have been vetted, right? But the onus is that if you fall for any of them, if you make a deep connection, if you feel like you really want to be with these men and build something, you are responsible for moving here. That's on you. I can't wait till they do this show and flip it around and put the guys on and then bring in 24 women. I just can't wait.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
There goes my bell.
I don't think they should do that because if these guys are yeah, exactly. If these guys are speaking to more than one lady at a time, then you're gonna get, oh well, he's a player and he's a dog, and why is he talking to one when he likes the other one and this, that, the other? Nah, like it's going to be too many traps for a guy to fall into and lose public support. Public opinion will be ruined.
But Mimi, you see what Mimi wrote? Okay, so Zadia better not leave that money behind in the DMV. And see, that's the catch. You've got this great following. And that's the same thing that we heard Cherise say, you know, I would have to leave my practice in Miami and move here. All of my clients, they're not coming with me. None of them are coming with me. So they'll just find another spa to go to, right? Same thing with Zadia. Her clients, her makeup clients, her body training clients, they're all going to be gone. So that's the thing. Are you willing to sacrifice that for love, for connection? How does that look? How does that work? I don't know. So let's see. Possibly. Probably. We yeah, I don't know. Cam says, getting back to Zadia and Cam though, Cam says that when the thing about it is he's it seems like he's getting frustrated at this point with Zadia. And I don't know. I'm wondering if behind the scenes, if he's beginning to see her snarkiness, if he's beginning to see how her attitude that she typically gives to people, including Dante from her season when she was Unready to Love. She's got a smart, slick mouth. But anyway, Cam says that when he sees Zadia, he realizes that he wants to be with her. They hug and they kiss. And that's kind of how we see them go out. But before all of that, she was asking, what are you doing on your phone texting? So what did you guys make of the whole scene in its entirety? Will they be able to withstand the heat and the pressure?
Well, she might have thought that he was texting another lady or one of the ladies in the house, considering how Mizelle and Venetia have been, carrying on behind Cherise's back, right? But
Yeah.
I think she has to get used to the fact that, he's going to be busy. So if he's not at the pharmacy, some of these other ventures may be being texted or messaged or emails and all these different things. And to be honest, it didn't look like he was doing it during their conversation. It looked like he was on the couch in his phone, and then she came over and sat down and then asked him. So I think there's a difference. Like if he was in his phone while they were talking, then I think there would have been more of a significant, reason to respond.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Any thoughts on that part of the episode, Sean?
Well, exactly. I mean, I agree with what JR said, because now it could go one or two ways. Either A, that could be an issue toward control, like you better not be texting anybody else, or B, why you got to work so much? Look, this is just our time together. You need to put your work down some, because he does work a lot of hours. I don't know how busy the pharmacy he works with is. I don't know. I don't know how many prescriptions a day he fills. I don't know if he's the only pharmacist on duty, what have you. So that can be intrusive, what have you. The way it looks on the show, that he's just into her. That's the way it looks on the show. Now, what he is behind scenes or off camera, I have no idea. But it could go several different ways.
Right. It could. But now we move over to continuing on. We move over to Ashley confronting sweaty Kirsten. She's triggered. She tells him that why not pay more attention. Oh, wait a minute. She's telling him that that she doesn't like the way he's treated her. I think we did this one already. I'm sorry. Vern is deciding on between
Zydeco dancing, I think.
Okay. Okay, yeah, the Zydeco dancing, right. That's the scene with Mike and with Vernon and wait a minute. Who do I have here? Vernon, Sharice, go. No, that's okay. I've got this all mixed up here. I'm sorry, guys. Help me out. Vernon and Ashley. Oh, Vernon and Ashley are on the double date with Trey and Mike. We already talked about that, I think, a little bit. The guys were too young. The guys were not what either of these ladies are looking for. At the end of it, they seem like they're having fun, but I don't think there's any real connection. Do we all agree on that?
No connection.
No, it's not at all. It's not any. And she called him a baby. I wanted to call that man a baby. I would have called him a baby. I wouldn't call him a baby though.
Right. So we move forward.
I would not have called a man a baby.
She even said, if we want your number, we'll know how to
reach you. Yeah. That's pretty dismissive at that point. Right?
She gave her number to Mizell without any of that stuff. Without any of that energy.
Well, time is winding up for Mizell. She figures Mizell gonna know what to do with it. But the way I'm looking at it, I think Mike might know too. But hey, to each his own. I'm in favor of Mike and not Mizell. That's my thought on the situation. But who am I to say?
I mean, the man said, "Do you need a bodyguard?" Man said, "Do you need bodyguards?"
I got a body for Mike the girl.
And these two dudes were competing against each other right there in front of the two ladies.
You say what now? Say again.
These two guys were competing against each other right in front of these two ladies. Like they're trying to one up each other.
I don't have a problem with it. Yeah. What's your problem?
Dude, somebody slid down a volcano.
No,
what's your problem, JR? What's
the matter? Dude,
focus on the ladies, not each other as men. Like, what are you doing? Yeah, come on. Like,
slid down
got the most braggadocious.
Sounds like somebody's jelly.
Nah, man. Like, listen, why are you trying to brag about? Yeah, I jumped out of the plane. Yeah, I slid out of the volcano. Why are you one upping each other with your BS? Focus on the ladies.
But that's why Vern said that they're too young. You see, you get the point.
They're immature.
Exactly. They're immature, and that's what Vern saw that turned her off. So I'm not mad at her about that. But what's that song that Luther Vandross used to sing? If only for one night.
Okay. Never too much.
But
never too much.
But
what is it? Mm-hmm.
But I can understand why they asked to be a bodyguard, because certain parts of New Orleans can be very rough.
Really? Yeah. Oh,
New Orleans
ain't
as beautiful as certain parts of New Orleans rough. It's very rough.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're right about that.
Just like every other major metropolitan city.
Hey Sean, we need brother Cameron over here to tell us that. And I'm not talking about Cameron from this show. I'm talking about Cameron from Married at First Sight. We need him over here to tell us, don't go off the reservation, because New Orleans can get kind of dicey. It can get kind of
dicey. Don't go off the reservation.
Yeah, don't go off the reservation. Don't go off the bodyguard. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right about that, because I've only been to New Orleans in convention type situations with crowds of people around me that I know. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be out there by myself. That's a good point. So we press forward. The next thing on the list. So Ashley decides to keep Donald, but can she build a healthy relationship with him? Ashley is invited over to the Donald's house. The Donald has a nice home, and Ashley's looking around saying, yeah, this is nice. I thought your home might be a little maybe cluttered or junky, but it's actually nice. I could see myself moving in here, and with my womanly touch, this could be a nice little palace for me to reside in. And Donald seems to be going along with it. Everything is good. He's made dinner, and we all know that Ashley loves to cook, so that's not going to be an issue. If this guy can't cook, that's okay, because Ashley's got him in the cooking department, right? But then they go to playing this game, and they're playing this date night edition of this card game, and Ashley suggests maybe whether or not do they like to do, does he like toys? Does he like the handcuffs? Does he like to be tied up? Because she used to be a Girl Scout and she could tie him up so he won't be able to get out. But anyway, I got to do this without the card here because my card is really messed up. But so they're talking, and the one thing that kind of throws me off is that the Donald says when the question comes up, have you what have you learned? Have you been hurt in a relationship, and how have you healed? The Donald reveals to us that every relationship has gotten progressively worse for him, and that he's never had a healthy relationship. What did you make of that, JR?
Yeah, this is exactly what threw a spanner in the works for Ashley. Because, like you said, when she got there and she was thinking about how she could add a woman's touch and how nice the place is, the moment he shared that, she went to, oh no, so now I'm not going to be the first one. And, took a sip of the drink and it just went downhill from there. And it's a serious thing because I would have thought that this question would have come up a lot earlier, or he would have
Mm-hmm.
disclosed that a lot earlier in their interactions, because that's a very important thing to know about someone.
Oh yeah.
Mm. So,
Yeah.
but I think he didn't throw his ex-wife under the bus. He didn't really mention her. He more talked about himself. But um, actually, that's a shot to her ego. You can tell. Like now, she's gonna wonder probably what she looked like. Why did it end? What happened, how long were they together. She's gonna go through all of that, and I don't think that's gonna be helpful for her self-esteem and her ego and the way that she fluctuates in her emotions so frequently.
Fluctuates. That's a very good word as it relates to Ashley. But also, I mean, what do you think about him saying that he's had all these unhealthy relationships? Do you think that together he and Ashley might be able to heal together? Is that possible?
No, because I think if they do base their relationship or gear it around that, then there might be some trauma bonding, which is never a good thing. I mean, it's good to a certain level where you can empathize with what each other's gone through, but if that's the basis of your relationship, then it's not going to work. But I think it's a red flag because he is the common denominator in all those relationships. So if he's never had a good relationship before, he's the only one that's been in all of those different relationships and they've all ended the same way. That's what I took from it. So, you know,
Mm.
it's,
Oh, wait a
it's
minute. So you're saying that he's the common denominator? Is that what you're
yeah,
saying,
yeah,
JR?
yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Well, maybe his picker is off, like Ashley's picker seems to
Right.
be
And
off.
that happens, but that's a flaw then, right? Like if your picker is off, then
Yeah.
what steps are you taking to change that to make sure your picker is actually gonna point you to the right direction this time?
That's a good question. Maybe that is why Donald is so attracted to Ashley. Maybe they are, after having had all this conversation and the texting that they've been doing since he's been off the show. Maybe they've kind of come to this knowing that they've both been hurt, they've both been betrayed by other partners, and that what they bring to this situation maybe is the ability to want to commit and to be genuine with one another. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah,
But I don't know if Ashley will be able to get out of her own way though, because
that's it.
Ashley, whenever she thinks something's about to go south, or if anybody gives her a little whisper of an inkling that something is not the way she thinks it should be, Ashley's willing to jump ship like she did with
hmm
Donald earlier, right?
hmm Yeah. And that's what I mean. I think if you have a shared experience, then that's one thing. You have that in common, right? But
Right.
you have to also be able to put those previous relationships in the past so that you can build for your future relationships. So there's no going back to, oh well, this person was like this and this is why you didn't work out, or what did she look
Hmm.
like, or how did this happen, or where did you go on your first date, or have you been here before with your ex-wife, or and those are the type of things that would make Ashley, in my opinion, insecure. Like If you tell her that type of information, it's going to stay in her mind, and she's always going to have that there from now on. Whereas I think someone more comfortable in who they are, they're not going to worry about the past. They're going to be like, "Well, I've met you now at this stage in your life. Let's see what we can build going forward."
Yeah, somebody more comfortable in their skin or more confident. I could see that. I could see that. I'm trying to understand too, though, because isn't Ashley, I think 35 or 36 at this point? You know, she's been off the show. She was on Ready to Love 5 years ago. So she's about 35 or 36. So 35 or 36, if you're dating somebody that's the same age, it's kind of 50-50 if that person will have been married before. So I don't see what the big deal is, other than if she's saying that he hasn't told her and they've been talking for 3, 4, 5 weeks and they've been talking on a daily basis. That does seem like something that you would have shared with the person you're dating early on. So I'm not so sure if I'm really buying that he didn't talk to her about that. I don't know if this is a production driven plot line, but I'm not buying that if I meet you, you're not telling me after 3 or 4 dates or us talking on the phone daily that you haven't confided in me that you've been married before and you're now divorced, and that I haven't shared with you my dating history and the fact that I've been married and divorced. I'm not understanding that.
And well, maybe she got rid of him before they got into that type of in-depth discussion.
Yeah, but she says in the scene prior to this, she says in the scene where she's talking, that she says that they've been talking. She tells the women that they've been talking daily. So what are you talking about? I mean, I get that we're talking about the present and we're trying to delve into and learn about each other, but isn't part of learning about each other, it's all stuff that you've done in your past? Because what are we doing? Predicting the future? Well, in the future, I'm going to be an astronaut and I'm going to have 10 kids. I mean, what are we talking about? What are they talking about all day, every day?
I suspect it's just complimentary things, and
surface level.
How you do? Yeah, because if it wasn't surface level, they would have covered that type of situation already.
Yeah, true. Sean, what do you make of this? You think these people just been talking on the surface level, like day in and day out? That's no better than somebody sending me a text saying "Good morning, gorgeous." That's obnoxious. I'm sorry. That's obnoxious. That's a waste of time.
It almost goes back to it almost goes back to our teenage years.
Exactly.
Nothing. What you doing? Nothing. You sleep?
Yeah.
No. You sleep? No. So
it's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's the same people you see in the store. Wait a minute, Sean. I can say that.
I don't know whether he told her.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. You don't know whether he told her. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I know it just.
He might have told. He might have told her. She probably forgot, and it could have been.
Oh, she forgot. You think Ashley would forget that somebody's been married? This is the woman that harps on. This is the woman that harps on not being ever being anybody's rebound again. I don't think she would have forgot that. I don't think. I think
she's an astronaut space cadet sometimes.
Ooh, Ashley, he said it.
The check engine light is on.
He said it, Ashley. I didn't say it, and I'm gonna demote him for saying that on my show. Come on. Well, so we're left.
I mean, come back. What else is there to talk about?
We're left with the scenes from next week. We're going to see. It looks like they're bringing back some people, and as somebody pointed out, I think I have this in my comments section. I see my Donna D makes a very good point, that it looks like Vernicia on the next episode, it looks like Mizell is in the preview. So did anybody else notice that? Because I did. I definitely think that's Mizell, and they're bringing him back for Vernicia. Do you guys see Vernicia hooking up with Mizell? Because she says he's got swag.
Oh yeah, it's fair game now. You just had to get Sharice to drop him so that Venetia could pick him up. So Venetia don't have anything against him. So hey, it's just trying to make it legitimate now. Just trying to make it legitimate.
She does now because he downplayed what their interaction. So she does have something against him. I hope it isn't him because that's just recycling. Like, listen, it's already been finished. I mean, Sharice sent him home. Venetia hasn't. That could be the only angle that, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, so he's not fit for Sharice, but then again, if look at it this way, if Ashley can bring back the Donald who she dismissed weeks ago, right, and brought him back, then everybody genuinely is fair game, whether for the other woman, another woman, or for the same woman to bring back. Because who doesn't think we're going to see Maurice in this whole scenario? Because nobody is connecting with Sharice. What's going on with poor Sharice?
I don't think Maurice wants to be the rebound for the fact that Sharice doesn't find anybody else. I think he considers himself better than a lot of the other guys out there. The only option possibly for Sharice.
Right.
So if she let him go, I don't think he's going to go back.
You know, Maurice not talking while he's got a mouthful of food, because apparently this man does love to eat, and he is not breaking the golden rule of not eating with food in his mouth, not talking with food in his mouth. So that's something that Sharice is just going to have to lump. She's going to have to lump that and say, well, you know what? Because he got that Louis and the Gooey and the Vouis and the Louis Vuitton and all the designers, and he's well traveled, and he has the affluence and the prestige that she wants in her life. So she's going to have to lump it in the fact that he has a 22-year-old son. I mean, like, nobody is ever going to find this perfect person that ticks off all the boxes 100% and looks the way they want, smells the way they want, has the job that they want, but still has 24 hours a day to fawn over them. None of these women are getting any of that or all of that. They're just not. They're going to have to decide what's the priority.
Exactly, because the moment one of those unicorns comes around, all of the women are going to want that guy.
So, they'll be knocking each other off just to get to that guy.
Exactly. So I think they need to be realistic. There's going to be strengths and weaknesses with all of the guys that they meet. So they just need to find the most compatible option that they have feelings for and feel like they can progress a relationship with.
Mimi, you're killing me out here. You're killing me. I need an oil change. You're funny. So what else do we see from next week? I think that was pretty much it. Was there anything else that we saw from the previews for next week? It's gonna be interesting to see how this winds up. I think that the Sugar Honey Iced Tea show is gonna be on the reunion, because there's a lot of things that we're missing that are being edited out. And I just want to hear what all of these castmates are going to say about one another. I really do. And what they're going to say about, like, Keith, the whole situation between Keith and Sharice, why she X'd him out because he's only been to Dallas and not anywhere else. And we're finding out that that's not quite true. But, you know, a lot of things get edited out. So hopefully we'll find out a little bit more. Press toward the reunion. Go ahead. What are you going to say, Sean?
No, I was just laughing. I bet you he got a lot to say at the reunion. I bet you he does.
I bet he does too. I actually want to hear what Donald is being very flattering toward Ashley, but I actually want to hear what the Donald has to say about all of this interaction that he supposedly had with Ashley, and if behind the scenes, if she's not a calmer, more rational person than what we're seeing. Because what I'm getting from Ashley is, like JR pointed out, is that Ashley fluctuates a lot. Her moods, her emotions, her feelings, and how she how she behaves. And now she's in power at this moment. I am woman, hear me roar. I am powerful. I am boss chick. And then the next minute she's melted into Tamika's got to sit and talk her through, give her a pep talk to get her through the day. I'm not understanding her.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so as we wrap up this episode, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. I haven't went over to the private chat. Hopefully everything is okay over there. Let me check and see what's going on. Are you guys just oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know that. Diddy now. Really? Are you coming? JR, are you coming? What's going on? Is that a yes?
No, not yet. I was meant to go on the last tour, but no, I had to
Right.
work. I couldn't get annual leave, but hopefully
Okay.
Well,
Well,
I'll be over
what
there
if this
sometime
special
soon.
person that you mentioned in the chat, what if
Um,
she
well,
is there?
the thing is, um, I I doubt he'll be going to Houston, but I think more than likely, it will probably be the DMV area. But
Oh. Oh, you want to meet up with Sadia?
I'm no, I might be
I'm sorry.
I might be going to Illinois at some point very soon, but Ready to Love isn't there, and it's not for Ready to Love purposes.
Oh.
Maybe, but I
Oh.
can't say too much yet. We'll have to see how it goes.
Oh. Oh
But
my.
yeah,
Now,
I
what
think,
time of year would
but
this be
hey,
potentially,
but
JR? What time of year would this be?
um, that I don't know yet. It's still to be determined. But like I say, I have to get the time off work. Like right now, my work-life balance is not balanced at all. I'm working too much, and I don't get the time off that I probably should get because I'm always working. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah, like there
Well,
isn't a
what if I
there
know
isn't.
someone that knows the person that you mentioned in the chat? I'm not saying no
Hey,
names, but what if I know someone that knows that person? Uh, would you
nah,
maybe
no, 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 no,
no? Oh,
absolutely
okay.
not. No,
You want to you
no,
wanted to stay a
no, no,
fantasy?
no, 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 no. Absolutely not. No
Okay.
way. No way.
Yeah,
No way. No way.
I
No way.
think she's a
Uh,
sweetheart. I think that could work.
I don't.
Oh,
I think when it comes to like going on the US tour, I'm going to get a lot of heat because of the way I review um
oh,
the
yeah.
show. So yeah, I think um
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw the last part. Okay, I'm sorry. I
yeah,
didn't see that.
yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I
I hopped in the middle
yeah,
of it and I didn't see what
I
you wanted
know.
to know.
No,
Oops.
so exactly.
I promise you I didn't see that till just now.
Yeah, no, no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
nothing. But
Okay.
yeah, I might be going to Illinois soon. But other than that, I don't think I'll be going to the States for any other purposes, to be honest. But like I said, my work-life balance is completely off, so travel is just not something I can really pinpoint. This time last year, I had more time and I had more say over my schedule, but I work somewhere else now, so my time isn't my own. But we'll discuss it offline, of course.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. I'm such a ditz. I am so
Oh,
sorry. I am so sorry. Oh my goodness. What a nut. What a nutcase. Um Sean, what's going on? What's going on with you? Tell the people how they can reach you.
Well, you can reach me two different ways. You can reach me on Instagram or Facebook. And my IG is at SANDRES1906. Once again, that's at SANDRES1906. And you can find me also on Facebook under my first, which is SHAUN, last name Stokes, STOKES. Those are two ways you can reach
Okay.
me. And my number is
Okay.
777-9311. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, there you go. Hey, ladies. If you don't know
No.
from that song, you got to go back a little ways like Sean and I did to kind of catch that one. That used to be the jam, okay? Okay, the Jimmy Jam. And for you, JR, how can the people reach you, and what are you promoting on your various platforms?
JRX TV on Instagram is for health, fitness, well-being purposes. JRX TV on YouTube is relationship debates, things like that. So yeah, like find me, like, share, subscribe, or the panel, and hope you enjoy the content.
Well, I have enjoyed you two gentlemen, have been a pleasure. And outside of me making that big faux pas toward the end, just pretend like you didn't hear that, guys. You didn't see that. Never mind what I said. I was totally joking. It was all a big joke. Okay. And we over here are promoting peace, love, and happiness. So we'll be back next Sunday, and all the things we'll be thinking. If you guys will just simply for free 99 today only and every day, like the video, subscribe to our channels, follow us over on social media like IG and Facebook, and those things are in my link for me. Fortunately, my mods are absent, I guess, due to the holiday, so I'll forgive them. They're wonderful. They're usually here with me, but they're absent today. But we're gonna get on out of here because we done talked about it and all the things are thinging. So if you came in halfway, then check us out on the replay and still leave us a like. And come on and jump into the comment section. That's what I want to remind you guys. Jump in that comment section because you guys have a lot to say and I want to hear what you have to say. Okay? All right. All right, guys. We're saying goodbye. JR's big smile, big smile. I love it.
Peace.